Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You felt it first. Some of you felt it in the body before you opened your eyes this morning. A lightness where there was weight. A sense of possibility where there was waiting. A door that was locked yesterday, standing slightly ajar today. Something in the chest loosened. Something in the shoulders dropped. If you are a water sign, the last 4 months have pressed on you harder than most, because Jupiter in Cancer speaks your element. His retrograde moved through your foundations like a slow tide receding, exposing everything that was built on sand, everything that needed stronger pilings, everything that was beautiful, but not solid enough for what comes next. And today, the tide turns. Jupiter has stationed direct at 15 degrees Cancer. The largest planet in the solar system has stopped moving backward and is now, in this hour, beginning to move forward again. But this video is not just for water signs. Jupiter direct touches every chart. Every single sign has a house in Cancer, and every single house has been holding something frozen since December. Today, the freeze ends, and what was frozen begins to flow. For weeks I have been saying, hold, wait. The eclipse revealed the truth. The Cazimi crystallized the message. The feminine day softened the heart. Jupiter's stillness showed you the direction. All of it was preparation. Today is not preparation. Today is the shift. Let me explain what actually happened at the station. When a planet stations direct, it is not like flipping a switch. It is not an event that happens in a moment and then is over. It is like a pendulum reaching the absolute apex of its swing. For days, the motion has been slowing, approaching zero. And at the station, velocity reaches exactly zero before reversing. In that reversal, a tremendous amount of energy is released. Think of it like drawing a bowstring back. The retrograde was the pulling back. 4 months of tension, building. The string trembling at maximum draw, every muscle holding, every fiber taut. Today, the archer releases the string. The arrow is in flight. And the arrow is flying toward March 20th. What this means in your life is specific. The areas that have felt stuck, suspended, on hold, circling the same question without resolution, those areas will begin to move this week. Not violently, not all at once, but unmistakably. You will know it when you feel it, because it arrives as relief. Not the relief of a problem being solved, the relief of a river resuming its natural current after months of flowing against itself. The body knows the difference between stagnation and movement, and the body this week will relax in ways it has not relaxed since November. Here is the question the sky has been asking since November. Jupiter entered Cancer in June of last year. For the first 5 months in direct motion, it was asking expansive questions. What is home? What is family? What nourishes you at the level of the soul, not the schedule? Where does your nervous system actually settle, not where you have trained it to tolerate? What would your life look like if you built it around what feeds you, rather than what impresses others? These questions arrived with warmth, with optimism, with Jupiter's characteristic faith that the answers would be generous. And for many of you, the summer and early autumn felt like an opening, a widening of what home could mean. Then, in December, Jupiter turned retrograde, and the questions turned inward. The warmth remained, but the optimism was tested by reality. tested by the gap between the expansive vision and the current architecture of your daily life. The answers that seemed clear in September became less certain in January. The concept of home that felt so expansive in October started bumping against the walls of your actual home in February. The people you imagined as family did not always behave like family. The nourishment you identified was not always available. The gap between what you understood about belonging and what you were actually experiencing became the work. Jupiter retrograde does not ask easy questions. It asks real ones. And the real questions are always harder than the hopeful ones because they do not accept theoretical answers. They demand lived ones. Here's what that actually looks like. Maybe you realized that the city you live in is no longer where you belong, but you are not yet ready to leave. Maybe you discovered that the family dynamic you have been navigating since childhood was never going to change, and the real shift needed to happen inside you, not inside them. Maybe you understood that the thing you called home was actually a habit, and the thing you called a dream was actually where you are meant to live. These are not small realizations. They are foundational. And for 4 months, they have been pressing on you without resolution, pressing and pressing and pressing. Today, the pressing stops. The answer arrives, not as a thought, not as a revelation delivered from the sky in a beam of light, as movement, as the felt sense that forward is available again. You may not be able to articulate the answer in words today. That is fine. The body knows before the language arrives. The answer is a direction, a vector, a compass bearing that your body recognizes even if your mind cannot yet articulate it. Some of you will feel it as a sudden desire to call someone, to book a ticket, to start a search, to say yes to something you have been circling for months. That desire is the answer wearing the clothes of impulse. Do not dismiss it. Listen to it. Let it point you, even if the destination is still hazy. The arrow is in flight. The question has been answered. And the answer is not a word or a sentence. The answer is the direction the arrow is flying. Sit with that for a moment. Now, the nuance. And this is the part that separates this channel from every other one covering Jupiter direct today. Mercury is still retrograde. I mentioned this yesterday, and I will say it again because it matters profoundly. Jupiter says go. Mercury says not yet. Not never. Not yet. This is not a contradiction. This is precision. Jupiter provides the direction and the energy. Mercury provides the discernment and the timing. Jupiter says, this is the door. Mercury says, walk through it carefully, checking each step, because the hallway on the other side still has some dark corners that need your attention before you run. If you only listen to Jupiter, you rush forward carrying old baggage. If you only listen to Mercury, you stay frozen in revision indefinitely. Together, they create the most sophisticated navigational instruction the sky has offered all year. Move forward while simultaneously completing the interior work. Build the new while finishing the old. Step into the next chapter while the editor is still cleaning the final pages of the current one. The productive tension between propulsion and patience is the defining energy of this entire week. And tomorrow, I will walk you through it in detail, because the paradox of Jupiter forward and Mercury backward is one of the most useful navigational tools in astrology, and most channels never explain how to use it. They just say, Jupiter direct is good, Mercury retrograde is bad, and leave you to navigate the contradiction alone. For now, the instruction is simple. Feel the permission. Feel the lightness. Feel the door opening, and do not sprint through it. Walk. Walk with awareness. Walk with the Kazemi sentence in one hand and Jupiter's direction in the other. Walk knowing that Mercury will station direct on March 20th, the same day Saturn and Neptune conjoin, and on that day, you will have both the momentum and the permission. Full green light. 9 days. That is the distance between propulsion and full green light. Here is what just got permission to move for each sign. Aries, your 4th house. The home situation that has been frozen since December is thawing. A move, a renovation, a family conversation, a redefinition of what home means. Something shifts this week. Not everything. Something. And that something changes the foundation. Your action, take one step toward the home decision you have been circling. The step does not have to be large. It has to be real. Taurus, your 3rd house. The words you have been holding are ready to move. A communication that has been stuck. A message that has been composing itself in your mind for months. A conversation that needs a new language. Permission is here. Your action, say the first sentence of the thing you have been trying to say. Just the first. Jupiter carries the rest. Gemini, your 2nd house. Money and value begin to flow again. The internal reassessment of what you are worth is complete. Now the external world begins to reflect the new valuation. Your action, initiate one conversation about money, compensation, or value that you have been postponing. The number that felt audacious in January feels accurate today. Cancer, this is your station. Jupiter in your 1st house turns direct, and your entire identity shifts from internal renovation to external expression. The person you have been becoming in the dark is ready for daylight. This week, people will see you differently, not because you changed in their eyes, but because you stopped hiding the change. Your action, make one visible change that reflects who you have become. It can be small. It must be seen. Leo, your 12th house. The spiritual expansion that has been invisible to the world gains forward motion. Dreams become directives. Intuition becomes strategy. The inner knowing that defies logic becomes the most reliable data you have. Your action. Act on one intuition this week that you cannot justify rationally. Jupiter in your 12th house says, the irrational is the instruction. Virgo, your 11th house. The right community begins to coalesce. People who match your actual future, not your inherited one, appear or reappear. Group dynamics shift. A vision of belonging that felt abstract becomes concrete. Your action. Reach out to one person who represents where you are going, not where you have been. Libra, your 10th house. Career momentum resumes with authority. Something professional that was stuck since winter begins to move. A promotion, a pivot, a project that finally gets traction. The public sees you clearly again. Your action. Make one professional move this week that you were waiting for permission to make. Permission arrived this morning. Scorpio. Jupiter in your 9th house turns direct. Beliefs solidify into convictions. A philosophy that has been under construction for months becomes load-bearing. You can build on it now. Travel or education that was paused may resume. Your action. Commit to one belief that emerged during the retrograde. Say it with certainty. Let it become a pillar. Sagittarius. Jupiter rules your sign. Your 8th house, intimate contracts and shared resources, resume negotiation. A financial arrangement or an emotional agreement that froze in December thaws this week. The balance of power shifts toward honesty. Your action. Name the imbalance you have been tolerating. Jupiter direct gives you the standing to renegotiate. Capricorn. Your 7th house. Partnership momentum returns. A relationship that has been in holding pattern resumes forward motion. The person across from you has also changed during the retrograde, even if they have not said so. Your action. Ask one honest question about the future. Not where is this going? Where do you want this to go? The distinction matters. Aquarius, your 6th house. Daily routines and health patterns regain forward momentum. The enriched, more meaningful daily structure that Jupiter was preparing during retrograde is ready for implementation. Your action this week: begin one daily practice that feeds the soul. Not a productivity hack, a nourishment practice. Jupiter says, the routine is the prayer. Pisces, your 5th house. Creative expression and joy gain propulsion. The vision that was germinating in the dark since December breaks through the soil today. A creative project, a romantic impulse, a capacity for play that was being deepened in silence, all of it moves forward now. Your action: give the creative project 1 hour this week. 1 uninterrupted hour. The muse has been waiting for Jupiter to open the door. The door is open. For weeks I have been saying, hold, wait, trust the process. Today, the process shifts. The holding becomes moving. The waiting becomes walking. The trust becomes action. But the action carries everything the waiting taught you. You do not move forward as the person you were in November. You move forward as the person the retrograde made you. That person is wiser, quieter in the right ways, louder in the right ways, more honest about what home means, what nourishment requires, what the foundation is actually built on. More willing to let go of the version of home that looked right and reach for the version that feels right. The seeds planted during the retrograde, the questions asked, the rooms discovered behind the walls, the relationships re-examined, the definitions rewritten, those seeds are now in the ground. They have been in the ground for weeks, germinating in the dark, putting down roots where no one can see. Jupiter direct is the first warm rain of spring, the rain that tells the seed, it is time. Push upward. The light is waiting. You will not see the green immediately. You will not hold the harvest in your hands this week. Point. You will trace every fruit to a point. You will trace every fruit to a root that was planted in the silence of February and March, in the dark months when Jupiter was retrograde and you were doing the hardest, most invisible work of your year. Mercury is still retrograde until March 20th. You have propulsion, but not yet full permission. That tension is productive. It is the tension of a plant pushing through soil that has not yet broken the surface. The push is real. The surface will break. I will explain the paradox tomorrow. For now, feel the lightness. Feel the permission. Feel the door. Trust the timing of the seed. and I will see you in the next one.